This episode of the Unwashed Asses is brought to you by you. Everybody over at patreon.com/0and09. Pitching in $1 or $2 a month keeps the dream alive, keeps shows coming out. Really, that's kind of it right now. So, if you like what I do here, throw in $1 or $2 a month. Keep things going. Oh, we gotta cut down the music. Bring it nice and low and gentle and easy, and then just outright kill it. 'Cause fuck it, that's what we do. 'Cause I don't like having ads on my shit, and when I play music, I don't have permission to. Then we get ads. So I'm gonna try and limit that. The biggest offenders get Set Go and Square Tire Records. I don't think I get hit on anything but that one, which sucks because I really did get Set Go, and I want to support them. And I don't know. I mean, I guess, but I don't want ads on my shit. So it's like, fuck. What do I do? Well, you could get permission to play their shit, or you could just keep poaching it and say fuck it. Yeah, we'll poach it. We'll poach it. Because you find folks at patreon.com/009 haphazardly throw your money at me and for reasons I can't entirely explain, you're like, this is a good thing. We'll go ahead and invest in this. And who cares that he takes a week or two off randomly because he's having the sad times, or he's not feeling good because he's a big old bitch. Yeah, we're back. We're back. And I have to beat up David Duchovny. So, my dreams are vivid. They're real. I go on many adventures. Sometimes, a lot of the times, they involve me being murdered, dismembered, or other ways brutalized because of redneck families, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That plays a big influence in my dreams. For whatever, well, I shouldn't say whatever reason, because Leatherface always freaked me right the fuck out. He was like, you always had your top tier horror villains, you know, like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Aliens, Monsters, Michael Myers, because, you know, the Love Guru was terrible. But Leatherface always fucked me up. I don't know if it was the retard, but that doesn't make sense because Jason Voorhees suffered the same affliction. There was something about him that kind of set me off, and I never ever liked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. In fact, the only one I've still seen through, I've only seen through was the second one. What was it, like the New Family or some shit, where it had Matthew McConaughey. He was the patriarch of the family, or the weird robot leg, and he's like fucking his sister on a table, and Renee Zellweger was one of the survivors. So it was weird. That one, Leatherface dressed up like a lady, because I'm pretty sure the grandfather in the family, the movies always have the one old guy who is just kind of like, you're never sure if he's dead or not. He's always in like a corner of the room in a wheelchair, but I'm pretty sure there's a weird fucked up power dynamic there where Leatherface is clearly the muscle of the group, but he's got this weird like sub-dom relationship with the grandfather, who I'm pretty sure, like, you know, when Leatherface goes to sleep at night and he's got his quilt made of human faces and other assorted body parts, the grandfather, he like slowly wheels in. At first he wheels himself up or up the hallway, you know, the floorboards are creaking, and the people hanging on the meat hooks in the bathroom have been muffled for the night. Everybody's kind of asleep. It's nice, peaceful times. You know, about 2 a.m, nothing's going on. Wheels down the hallway, just creaking along. He gets to the stairs where you got it's not the fucking hover round. It's that automated lift that goes up the stairs. So he gets his ass up into that thing, and he hits the button, and you know, it's a nice Nice slow 5 minute ascent up the stairs, the old rickety stairs that are, caked with blood stains, and you got the odd posts out of the railing that are knocked out because of people trying to get away, and he's just enjoying his slow, pleasant ascent up to the second floor, where he gets off, and you start seeing a little more life come into his eyes. Like he's getting excited. He knows what's about to happen, and the life is coming back into him. He's not as frail and weak looking as he used to be, and doesn't bother getting into a wheelchair at the top of the stairs, because that facade, that disguise, has fallen away of the old man who might actually be a corpse. We're not sure. He just sits there in a wheelchair in the corner. That's gone. Instead, with each step, strength's coming back into him. He's getting stronger, getting not necessarily faster, but he's getting stealthier. He's more fluid. He's like a jungle cat on the prowl, ready to pounce. And he creeps over to Leatherface's room, and ever so deftly opens up the door, and it's pitch black in there except for the lumbering mass of the retarded serial killer is sleeping in his bed with his quilt made of human faces. And the old man sneaks in like a phantom, like a fart on the wind, right into Leatherface's room, and one hand slides up under the blankets and just starts playing with his balls, his mass murderer balls. And Leatherface, he cries inside because his limited mental facilities, they can't process what's going on, but he knows this is what happens, and it's best that he don't fight it. Otherwise, the old man, he turns violent real quick. And nobody else is privy to this, because Matthew McConaughey is in the kitchen railing his stepsister before they go to bed. It wasn't stepsister, it was just full-on sister, because it's Texas, and fuck it, people are inbreeding to Texas. So yeah, my dreams, usually the scary ones, involve either snakes or some variation in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So when Resident Evil 7 came out, like, oh, awesome, more fucking hillbilly families, and The Hills Have Eyes with their gratuitous displays of rape. Like, oh, awesome, yeah, this is great. Not at all what I like here. But that's a long way of me saying my dreams take me on journeys. There's always something weird, wacky going on. But the most recent one I had was Saturday night. I, aside from like the horror based dreams, a common theme is that I'm under some type of pressure or strain, usually involving work or a time period. Like I have to be like I'm driving and I have 7 jobs on my route, and I have to be across the country, and I don't have time to do this, that, or the other thing. Like it's just these impossible tasks. Well, this week's impossible task was I had, for whatever reason, signed on to do a charity MMA fight against Joe Rogan. Now, for those not familiar, Joe Rogan was the one of the hosts that stepped in on the Man Show, did a pretty big stint on Fear Factor, and has most recently, gotten in podcasting, and he's a big fan of the MMA, and the guy takes care of himself. He hits the weights and exercises regularly. He's in pretty good shape. He's got some muscles layered on him, and I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure I could not fucking take Joe Rogan in a fight. So that inner bitch in me realizes this in the dreams, because all pretenses of how amazing I am are quickly stripped away within my own psyche. There's no person that hates me more than me. And so when I get inside my own head, especially the subconscious, it's like, oh yeah, what the fuck are you gonna do? You're just a big old bitch. So for whatever reason, I had agreed, oh yeah, I'm going to do this charity MMA fight against Joe Rogan. And, like, I don't want to do it. Every part of me is screaming, why are we doing this? What is going on? He's going to beat the shit out of me. I don't know any martial arts. I can't even, fucking box properly. And I'm a fat fucking piece of shit. Like, you get me out on those tiny UFC shorts where there's nothing, there's nowhere for it to hide. There's just, my fucking gut and spare tires and other euphemisms for the whale blubber that surrounds my torso hanging out. And not even that, but it is like pale, like dead fish belly white. I go into the octagon and I take my shirt off, and everybody has like a flash blinding tan, but it's not like a pure even tan. They got like this weird chain link pattern on their skin because again, I'm in the octagon and there's the fence. So like a flashbang starting to recede, their eyes start to clear, and there's just me in these tiny black shorts, and it's like, oh fuck no, no, good God no. And there's Joe Rogan ready to beat the shit out of me, but for whatever reason, the fight is taking place in Minnesota, and I have an hour to get there. So how the fuck am I going to get from Wisconsin up to Minnesota to fight Joe Rogan in an hour? So I'm panicking, and then because, like, it's not even like that. It's just I'm immediately transported. There's no, like, interesting journey where I'm hanging out with Jamie Lannister and his hand gets cut off. No, I'm immediately in Minnesota, having lunch with Joe Rogan and David fucking Duchovny. And my dream self thinks to myself, well, fuck. I can't beat Joe Rogan, but I can sure as hell whip the shit out of David Duchovny. Old fucking Mulder won't even see it coming. I'll beat his bitch ass down. How do I get out of this fight with Joe Rogan? And now make this a charity event where I have to beat the shit out of David Duchovny. And that's kind of where the dream ended, was me conniving a way to get out of this fight, where I most assuredly will get my ass handed to me, where I could fight an older, much more frail gentleman. And I wake up and I tell the little lady, what it was I was dreaming about, and she's like, well, not to step on your toes or point anything out, but I don't know that you could beat up David Duchovny. Like, the fuck you on about? The fuck you just say to me? She's like, well, he's a celebrity, he's probably got a personal trainer, he works out regularly. I'm not gonna say it outright, but you definitely don't exercise worth anything. And what do you mean? I've got a physical job. I have to carry heavy shit, and I'm fairly active. Yeah, but he's a celebrity. He probably works out regularly. He's in good shape. And at that point, it dawned on me, like, my girl doesn't think I could beat the shit out of David fucking Duchovny. How old is David Duchovny? Let's look this up here. Let's go on a journey together, and we're gonna learn what my odds against. Like, we got to find out here. We got to find some basic stats. So let's go over to fucking Wikipedia. And this is great fucking radio here. How do we spell Duchovny? David Duchovny. Okay. Let's get some stats. Let's find out about this matchup. So, just kind of put things in perspective. I'm 6 foot, 230 pounds. Definitely heavier than I'd like to be, but it's solid. Like, if I'm in my prime, I got less than 10% body fat. I'm still at like 180. I'm a big person. So 6 foot. I got 36-inch reach with one hand. So he was born 1960, so that makes him 57. He's 57 years old. Can we get some more details on Mr. Duchovny? Like how tall is he? How much does he weigh? Let's see. Let's see here. David Duchovny. height. Okay, so he's 6 foot. We're same height. He's got same reach of me as what's his height and weight here? How heavy is he? Body statistics. So he's 6 foot. And this is taken from healthyceleb.com. So his nickname apparently is Dave. Didn't fucking know that. So let's see. He's 190 pounds. Okay. So I've got roughly 40 pounds on him. Pretty solid weight. I have a little extra padding. I can take a few, body shots. He's gonna have to work a little harder. But I firmly believe I could beat the shit out of David Duchovny, old Mulder, and the fact that she doesn't think that this could happen, that I couldn't beat a 57-year-old man into the ground, it hurts. I've got youth and weight on my side, and size. Not just like pure fat, but I'd like to think I got more muscles than old Mulder there. So it became a thing of, well, you don't think I could beat up David Duchovny. Now it has to be a thing of, I have to beat up David Duchovny. I have to, not necessarily track him down, but should the situation arise where old Dave, as his nickname has been found out, as Dave, if I run into him on the street, well, shit, Dave now, he doesn't know there's a hitter out there for him. He doesn't know that there is a pathetic man in the Midwest waiting to just ring his fucking bell, and not in the good sexy way. No, I'm gonna beat your white ass into the ground just on pure principle. That's fucked up, because I like David Duchovny. He was terrific as Mulder. He was great in Californication. He was hilarious and perfectly suited as the hand model in Zoolander. And now I gotta put an end to this man. Not necessarily saying kill him, but I gotta put a hurting on him just to prove the point that I can beat up a man who's near 60. That I can prove myself by beating up another white male. It's like, it is gonna happen. It's gonna happen should the stars align. And I'm in Hollywood or LA, or for whatever fucking reason he's like, I'm playing a cable guy, the rebooting cable guy, and it's not gonna be Jim Carrey, it's gonna be me, David Duchovny. And I believe in two things: aliens and rock solid cable. So I have to do a character study, and I've come to fucking middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. I'm gonna learn how to be a cable guy with you. Alright, man. But you and I, we got to sort some shit out first. What do you mean? It's me, David Duchovny. What could I have ever done to wrong you? Well, you see, here's the thing. I had a dream where I was going to beat you up, and I told my girlfriend about it, and she's like, you can't beat up David Duchovny. So here we are, Dave. I just on pure principle, I have to beat you into the ground. Fair enough. Let's throw it out. And then I proceed to beat the shit out of David Duchovny. Just for principle of the thing. But it makes me wonder, like, we project celebrities onto like this upper echelon, this plane and pedestal that we ourselves will never ascend to. They are not physical beings to us. They are something else. They're an idea, a thought. And thinking about, just like, oh, I could beat up David Duchovny, made him real to me in the sense that, oh, he's a human being out there. He eats, he shits, he breathes, and he could definitely feel the wrath of my fists pummeling his face in. But not Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan would beat the shit out of me. So I want to know, write the show, theunwashedasses@gmail.com. What celebrities would beat the shit out of you, but what celebrities could you beat the fuck out of? I'd like to go down the list like, oh yeah, We can tag team this shit. You take David Duchovny, I'll beat the fuck out of Gillian Anderson. All right, so I gotta apologize for last week. I gotta issue several, well, not several, but one big old apology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I read my shitty short story to you. I honestly had no gumption to do any of the topics I had on tap. And it had been suggested, a little earworm had been planted to me, saying, "Oh, go ahead and read that short story. You've got a good voice." Said no one. Why don't you read that book you wrote? Turn it into an audio book. I'm like, well, fuck, I can read. I can read, and I have already written the thing. Why don't I do just that? Why don't I read the book that I wrote? And then it was a bad idea, and no one had a good fucking time. It was late. I was angry, and I remembered I have a very monotone voice. I just want to get through whatever it is I'm reading out loud and be done with it. And that's not entertaining to you. And honestly, rereading that short story, it's a big pile of shit. So I apologize. I will never again go through a scenario where I read something long form like that. You have my word. Feel free to delete that episode, but I will not be issuing refunds. Buy it if you like. Don't listen to the show. And no refunds. We got some new studio lighting. I went out and spent the insane amount of $15 to get a couple fucking desk lamps and set them up permanently. Because what I was doing before in a very hackney fashion was, let me go take the lamps out of my bedroom and put them on an extension cord at the desk. And the problem was, like, I would just fucking leave them out here week after week. So when it's time to go to bed, like, there's no lights in the bedroom anymore. I have to turn on the flashlight on my phone. Like, all right, where the fuck's the bed? Oh, there's a cat there. Did I actually put away the laundry, or is it still sitting in a big old pile on the bed because I'm a lazy piece of shit? Oh yeah, no, the laundry's still there. Let's go ahead and move that in the dark. And oh, that's definitely a cat. Okay, we're ready. Now we can crawl in bed. Instead of just being able to walk in, pull the chain, and there be light. So, problem solved. We got a nice, bright, well-lit studio, i.e. my fucking living room / dining room, and you can see the balloons and decorations from a recent birthday party that will probably stay up as long as the fucking Christmas tree in the corner, because let's be honest, when you live in a funk like this, you hold on to whatever happiness you can, because it's just sadness otherwise. No, it's just I'm a lazy piece of shit. So only when somebody's about to come over to do things get clean, like, oh shit, landlord's coming over, or the girlfriend. But I don't have guests otherwise. I don't think. I've never had anybody over for any type of like social occasion that I wasn't sleeping with here. Like, unless we're related by blood or I'm fucking you, you've probably not been to my place. And that's, I don't know, it's weird to think about. Like, I'm never going to have that, oh, we're in our prime, we're in our 30s, we're going to go out drinking and having fun at night, and we'll go back to your place and talk about boys and watch a movie. No, it's like, this is my fucking domicile, and no one comes in because I live a sheltered and sequestered life. And honestly, I mean, not much would change, say, if I win the lottery. I hit the old Powerball, except my digs would become more secluded. They would probably be in a very heavily wooded area. And I'm not saying this would happen, but it could very well be a distinct possibility that there might be a Hunger Games type scenario to nearby hikers. It's a possibility. It's not a guarantee. There definitely wouldn't be any chance of me wearing somebody's face and getting my gargantuan fucking serial killer balls fondled by a grandfather, because my grandfathers are dead, so that's outright. Unless I adopt like some crazy old codger and like, okay, you're gonna be my grandpa now. I'm gonna go murder people out in the woods, and then in a very passive aggressive, no one else is going to see it kind of way, you have to, sexually assault me on a fortnightly basis to hold firm to this idea that you actually run the shit here, not the main character who's had several movies and spin-offs. Oh fuck. So there's no good segue for this, but video games. Video games. I was wrong about Destiny. I heavily endorsed it when it came out. I was a poster child for it. I was shamelessly bought out with trinkets and baubles by Bungie saying, oh, we know who you are. You did a YouTube video about us once. Here, have a coloring book and a Pop-Tart box with your name on it. And we're not going to say it explicitly, but like, talk about our game. And I did. And there was no tacit agreement that I talk about their shit if they send me shit, but that's kind of how it played out. And I mean, to be fair, I and everybody else who had been playing the end of Destiny, when Age of Triumph and whatnot was going on, oh yeah, we were fucking digging it. It was a great game. So, of course, we have reasonable expectations that Destiny 2 is going to be equally fantastic, if not better. And we were right to expect such things, because, I mean, how do you take a step backwards on developing a game when you clearly are, when you already have the foundation and hard part laid out? Like, oh, well, let's expand this, let's build it out. Let's not take anything away. Instead, we get a game where there is no, you lose everything from the first game. You have to start your character all over. There's no environments that come back. You can't replay story missions. After you've beaten the main story, you can't go back and replay it, and just a litany of problems with it. And then the fact that Bungie continuously promises, oh yeah, we're open communication and feedback, and we're listening, guys, we're listening. And then with the XP fiasco of severely handicapping the amount of XP received by players, while lying and saying, oh, these are the numbers you're actually getting. No, it wasn't. And then releasing another expansion in the form of Curse of Osiris for $20 to $25 that can be beaten in a couple of hours, and it really didn't provide anything much worthwhile to it. I was wrong, and I'm sorry to anybody that I convinced to buy the game or just spend any real significant amount of time with it. Now, to be fair, the first 30 hours of Destiny 2 are fantastic. They are a blast to play as you're going through the campaign. There's cutscenes, there's interaction with your favorite characters, and you're leveling up, and despite, your gear looking kind of like shit throughout, start to finish, you're having a good time. And then you have that high of chasing the item level cap, getting to 305, doing your weekly milestones, and then when you hit your cap, you run out of things to do. There's very little incentive to keep playing. By then you probably have your core set of weapons, and unless you want to, I tried to jazz up the game and put in a different method of, well, let me work on getting different sets of armor and putting different stats in them, because you have the three subclasses with Solar, Void, and Arc. let me make a set of each so I can, really round out my character for any given situation. And it got boring. It became a slog. It became a chore, something not fun to do. And I mean, you probably saw it for a couple weeks on Friday Night Smite. Mezzy and Woody played, but they quickly tapped out as well. Far quicker than I did. And I think the only reason I kind of stuck along with it, as far as I did, was because I still believed that there's the possibility things could get turned around. We could have something new and fantastic come with this game, and it never happened, and that was so disappointing, so sad, and honestly, at this point, I'm not even gonna get this expansion. I had plans. Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and we'll get it on PlayStation 4 and play with this other group of people. But that involves me paying another $60 for a game that has had its content cut with the release of said DLC. Buying said DLC that's not even worth it on the one system, buying it twice over, and then going through that grind, and it's just not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's not something I want to do. And to those that, I convinced that this was a sound investment, this was something they could stick with, this is something they should be playing. We've got a clan, and we've got this, that, and the other thing. We've got nightfalls and strikes on farm status, and it didn't have the legs. I still visit the subreddit, and I feed off the salt and sorrow and bitterness and anger and just overall apathy that audience has towards the game now. And it reaffirms, I was deluding myself that, at the core, Destiny 2 is a great game, but it's hamstrung so much by the developer, and decisions to move everything to a pay-to-win, not necessarily pay-to-win system, but all the loot, all the gear that's worth even getting is locked away within the Eververse system, which you have to spend real money to get, unless you're doing just, oh yeah, I get the one whenever I level up. But that's, again, your gained experience was hamstrung by Bungie until the community found out and presented irrefutable proof. Only then did that change get rolled back. So, I'm sorry. The game you might still be able to sell back at GameStop. There was a big spree there where people, because of what happened with the expansion, were getting refunds processed on Xbox Live and PSN and through the Blizzard store. And honestly, it doesn't seem like that bad of an idea. No, I wouldn't go that far. Like, I got my money's worth out of Destiny, but I'm not going to be fooled into thinking that I should keep spending money on something until I see, oh yeah, this is Taken King level worth of content. And honestly, that's kind of how games break down. It's an expensive hobby. There's no two ways about it. And so when you invest as much money, because like a brand new game out the gate is $60 minimum. That's minimum. It's never going to be maxed now that we have microtransactions and loot boxes and DLC and season passes. $60 just gets you in the gate. You can spend upwards of, maybe even a couple $100s on a game trying to get everything in it, Not to mention games with loot boxes like Overwatch, where there's over 2,000 items in the game. You could spend thousands of dollars trying to get everything in the game. And it's because it is a slot machine based system where, oh yeah, I pay $1.50 for a spin at this loot box, and I don't know what it's going to contain. And I'm going to be honest, I've been watching a lot of Jimquisition, and he covers this extensively across several different videos about how this loot box system is ruining games, and it makes me feel bad that I supported the systems in place, especially in like Overwatch, where yes, it is purely cosmetic, but it only emboldens game developers and publishers like EA did with Battlefront 2 to just to do obscene bullshit where they're giving actual advantages to the players if they get the right items within the loot boxes. That's just, it's not fair. It impacts the gameplay. At that point, it's fucked. And so I would go ahead and, spend 10 to 15 bucks on loot boxes anytime a new seasonal event in Overwatch would roll out, and make a video like showcasing all the new items and then my attempts at getting them. And just, granted, I only get a handful of views. It's nothing major. I don't really have much of an audience outside of this show because you're all terrific and wonderful, and I love you very much. But I would do just that. I would feed into the system of, here's what we can get, here's what's awesome, here's what I want, and here's me, pulling a slot machine 10 to 15 times hoping to get it. And that's a fucked system. That's not the way things should be. And so I'm done with it. I'll just keep earning loot boxes, my chance at the wheel there, naturally. We had the Christmas event roll into Overwatch, and with it, of course, they have brand new skins, and Blizzard is clearly trying to force people into a way of having to buy the loot boxes by making legendary skins cost 3,000 credits out the gate. Now, before, they would only cost 1,000, but recently with the I think it was the summer games, they upped the cost. So if it's a new legendary skin, it costs 3,000 credits. If it's one from last year, it's only 1,000, which is the normal. So unless you play extensively, there's no way that you're going to have, 3,000 plus credits laying around. You will definitely not have enough credits saved up to buy everything you want just straight out. That's the way the economy in that game works. And so it forces players into a situation of, well, I could keep buying loot boxes in hopes of getting, because they release 5 to 6 new skins each event. I could keep buying loot boxes in hopes of, just getting them outright. Or if I don't get them outright, there's always a chance that I could get either A, duplicates that refund me a fraction of what the item would normally cost, or B, getting, just credits inside the loot box that I can then save up to buy the items outright. Now, that's where the spending thousands of dollars comes in, and that's just, it's fucked up. It's fun, it's exciting, what am I gonna get? I beat my weekly challenges, I get 3 extra loot boxes, and the amount of time it took me to get those 3 wins, I probably have 1 or 2 extra, so reasonably you could expect 5 loot boxes a week if you play the game, even moderately. But it shouldn't be random. Like, take, for instance, when I fired up the winter event, and granted, it's super fun. The game modes they've rolled out, the Yeti hunt and the snowball 6v6 elimination mode, it's a ton of fun to play. But I'm mostly come back to keep playing Overwatch for the skins. I want to get the hot new skins and deck my characters out in them. I love my Sanatory Bjorn, and I want this Rhyme Sombra skin, and the Ana Snow Owl, and of course the Tuskar Warcraft looking Roadhog. I want them. There's no two ways about it. So I'm gonna play and play and play and in hopes of getting them. So as I said before, you get if when a new event rolls around, you get 1 free loot box. It's your incentive to keep going for them and hope that you get the skin you're after. So I get the 1 free one. I get 2 more from just leveling up and playing. In the time it takes me to complete my 9 weekly wins to get 3 loot boxes. For every 3 wins, you get 1 loot box up to a cap of 3. So I have 6 loot boxes total. Not one fucking winter skin dropped for me. Not one. Not an old one, not a new one. The only skin I got, I got the only skin of note that I got two exotics. One was fucking biker Torbjorn, and then one was an exotic emote for Zenyatta, where he makes like a snowflake, which is cool, whatever. But it's not why I keep playing. It's not why I open the loot boxes. I want, the new skiing Soldier 76. I want, the Roadhog I was talking about. I wouldn't mind a Santa costume, May. I wouldn't, say no to the new Sombra. But instead, they rewarded me with shit that I can get anytime during the game, or just the litany of fucking sprays and emotes that no one gives a flying fuck about. You don't pop an emote during the match. There's too much going on, and unless you pull off this amazing team wipe, and you're recording like an emote at the end of it just to taunt people in the replay, you don't ever see emotes in the game. They are used at the start of the match during the planning phase, and that's it. Sprays, same thing. You only use them in the first 30 seconds when you're stuck inside your ships and destroying everything. You start spraying everywhere. And the fact that you get your 3 whites and a blue, or as Destiny would have it, your 2 blues and 2 tokens and a blue. It's just the game shitting on the players themselves, and it's just frustrating. Like, okay, we have the Christmas event. Let us, if we're opening up Christmas loot boxes, let us, roll exclusively on Christmas content. Don't give me a fucking Torbjorn skin that I can get any time during the year. That's fucked up. And it's frustrating. And so I'm taking, it's making me take a hard look at myself and how I play games and why what I spend my money on. And I'm going to be honest, I'm ashamed of my behavior, much like, reading to you and doing a terrible job at it. I'm no longer going to make videos where, I open loot boxes or, kind of even passively promote systems like that. If I get something, great, but it's fucking gambling. I remember being outraged when I first encountered it. I had been covering Scarlet Blade from Area Games, and it wasn't the greatest MMO. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it, and granted, it was just pretty much just TNA, but I was really big into MMOs at the time, so even after finishing my coverage on it, I kept playing the game. And then they introduced a shop where you could buy, or so I thought, you could buy items. And how naive I was, this was one of the first instances of a loot box where I thought I was buying an in-game motorcycle for a couple bucks. Like, oh yeah, I'll spend a couple bucks on that. You need the motorcycles to get around, and this one looks pretty cool. It's like a fucking Tron bike. I'll go ahead and buy it. And I'll support this company in this game because I got a lot of shit for free because I was covering it. I'll pitch in $1 here. And come to find out, it wasn't buying the item, it was buying a chance at the item. And this was my first experience with it. So when I opened a ticket, to my befuddlement, like, hey, I thought I was buying this item and I didn't get this item. I got this instead. It was at that point they directed me to the fine print, which I had, ignored, saying, oh yeah, you're buying a chance to win this item. You're rolling for it. And I was livid. I was pissed. Like, it just seems so unfair because I'm a big proponent of, I would give games and developers and companies so much more money if they would just let me buy things outright. But instead, they choose to prey on consumers and their player base by forcing them into a gambling scenario. Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I am not a lucky individual. I have terrible fucking luck. I don't win anything when it comes to pure chance. And I learned this lesson very early on when playing Monopoly Casino. I got fucking cleaned out. If I make a gamble, odds are it's the wrong fucking gamble, and I'm gonna lose and lose big on it. So to see this system become so prevalent in games, something so large, is it's just it's terrible, and it's honestly what's driving me away from multiplayer games in general. I'm harkening back to single player games, and I guess yeah. Let's get into that here. So the big reason I pushed towards the PlayStation 4 was they have a lot of exclusive content on the platform. A lot of stuff that I was really keen on getting. Games like Bloodborne, Near Automata, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, if you know anything about these games, the common thread here is that they are single player experiences. They are story driven content where there is no pervasive online multiplayer world. And I know you can argue in Bloodborne that players can join your game and help you kill stuff, or engage in PvP against them. But at its core, the games are single player focused. You don't need an internet connection to play them. You don't have online multiplayer in the form of PvP or even leaderboards. It's you in the game. How things used to be, way back when in the glory days of PlayStation 2, Xbox. And it made me realize that the bulk of Xbox games that I own are multiplayer. I'm trying to think, the last in 2017, the two biggest story-driven games I played on the Xbox One were Titanfall 2, which could be argued that's more multiplayer focused after you beat the campaign, and Batman Arkham Knight. Now, Arkham Knight had been released earlier. It's not even a 2017 exclusive. I just finally got around to it. And I don't count Destiny 2 because it is purely an online. It requires an internet connection. You can't play it offline. You can't even go through the story in an offline fashion. And so I realized, Xbox is where I go to play with my friends. It's where I log on and we do Smite, we do Overwatch, we do Vermintide now, or Fortnite Battle Royale. This is the console where my friends and I can play together. It's where multiplayer games dominate, and because it's the only current gen console I've had this iteration until we just recently got the PlayStation. Most of my experiences with it had been online, and I was hitting that fatigue. I was hitting that point where it's like nothing interests me. It's all the same. It's just shooter after shooter after shooter. And while I have fun playing with my friends, I want something different. I mean, you can love Moose Track ice cream as much as I do, but if you eat like an entire fucking carton of it, just like exclusively for every meal, you're gonna get sick of it. And so I needed something different. I needed some mint chocolate chip thrown up in there. I needed, a steak for, every fifth burger that I had eaten. I needed some variety, some spice of life. And much like what Bayonetta had done for me ages ago, when I was getting tired of the, Call of Duty fatigue, Mezzy, you can go fuck yourself. Moose Tracks is delicious. What Bayonetta had done was it had taken a single-player focus on just crazy, extreme, over-the-top action, because Platinum Games cannot make a bad game, in my opinion. Now, I've not played Star Fox for the Wii U. From all accounts, it's awful. But At that time, I was playing games like, Call of Duty, just over and over again. That's all I would play because that's what my friends played. And so having something so completely off the beaten track, something so totally different and refreshing, I latched onto it and I fell in love. And now the fact that Bayonetta 2 became a Wii U exclusive because um, the franchise was going to die until Nintendo stepped in because they realized they needed mature titles on their platform. And now Bayonetta 3 is going to be a Switch exclusive. It pisses me off that I have to buy the fucking Switch. Now, granted, I was probably eventually going to get the Switch because the lady loves the Mario and Nintendo-based things. But now this creates an incentive, much like the PlayStation did with its exclusivity. I have to get another fucking console to keep playing the series I want. Which is another fucking topic. But no. So I'm totally digging the fucking PlayStation because it provides a totally different game experience. In fact, I've framed my entire mindset around it entirely on the types of games that I can play on it. And you look, and PlayStation or Sony's just fucking killing it as far as exclusive titles this generation. Where you have games like, The Last of Us, Uncharted, you have the new God of War coming out, Bloodborne here, and Horizon, and notwithstanding, there's Until Dawn. There's just a ton of really good games that are story-driven, single-player experiences, and it is so fucking refreshing to sit down and be involved in a game where I don't have to worry about shooting another player. I can just focus on the story and enjoying it and getting immersed with the characters and digging into the background lore and exploring the environment at my leisure and not feeling like, oh, I've got to rush to hit level cap so I can prestige and keep going and do it all over again. It's like, no, I can take my time. I can stand in this creek and fish with my weird fucking robot buddy as moose and boar wander the fields, or I can hunt giant dinosaur robots, or I can hunt eldritch beasts in the streets of Yarnum. I can do it all at my own pace. I can experience a world that was built just for me. And honestly, I don't play the Xbox anymore except for Friday nights, or if somebody pops in the Discord like, hey, anybody down for some Vermintide? Yeah, I'll totally play some Vermintide. Or, hey, you guys want to try that new 50v50 mode in Fortnite? Absolutely. Because, again, I like playing with my friends, but you can only have so much Moose Tracks ice cream. And I'm not necessarily shocked, but pleasantly surprised that it's kind of Platinum Games pulling me out of the slump again. Like they did with Bayonetta, they're doing so again with Nier. And, we don't have much time left here, but Nier is a game that when Mint Chip's delicious. I'll give it to you. Mint Chip is amazing. It's a very close second. But Moose Tracks just has so much going for it in terms of flavor and richness. Mint Chip is always a safe bet, but when you want to get decadent and get fucking crazy, you get the Moose Tracks. But when you check the boxes with Nier as far as like what do I like about this game and where does it fall kind of short, I look at the items as far as like graphics. Everything aside from the two main character models of 2B and 9S, it looks like absolute shit. It's not a good looking game. It looks like a last gen console title. Environments are very bland, they're sparsely populated, and on top of that, the overall game world is not very big. It's actually pretty small in comparison to other games. You can very quickly unlock the majority of the map. The soundtrack, while good at first, gets very repetitive very quickly because you have one or two token songs that play for each area, and because the size of the map is so small, you keep hearing those songs over and over again. And on top of that, a lot of the story forces you to retread, ground. So you're going to the same spots over and over anyway, as far as your side quests, and it gets boring kind of real quick going to the same area. There's not much variety in terms of enemies. Now, some wear different clothes or they have different paint on them, but they fight pretty similarly. There's some few, like, it's not like Destiny where you have just 4 enemy types or factions. There's a little more variety, but honestly, not much. The story itself is pretty bare, pretty basic. Now, I say this with the understanding that I've only achieved one of the first main ending, and from what I hear, there are 26 endings in total to obtain. And it gets more intricate and more in depth and explores more topics, but from what I gather, it's just a very ho-hum story about what makes somebody human. What is it, is it our memories? Is it our bodies? It's not something that's, like, if I was 18, I would think this was profound and totally be in, but as some at my current stage of life, 33, constantly battling fucking depression and overthinking everything. What Nier's thrown at me in terms of story thus far, not anything to really write home about. But what has kept me playing for 17 hours thus far is just how much fucking fun it is to play. The just straight up, over the top action, very quick hack and slash gameplay is it's right up Platinum's alley. They've struck gold again with it. I could care less about graphics. I could care less about subpar story. I could care less about repetitive songs or tiny maps or going to the same areas over and over again. Make a game that is fun to play, and I will play the shit out of it. For the entire year that this show's been running, it comes up like clockwork how much I fucking love Bloodborne. I have the PlayStation now. I can play fucking Bloodborne all day, every day if I wanted to. But since I started playing Nier, it hasn't come out of the PlayStation. Like, I still want to show people, how gorgeous fucking Horizon Zero Dawn is. But I just like, you know what? I'll just keep playing Nier. Because there is that chase that I can go ahead, and I only have 3 of the endings. There's 23 more for me to collect. There's a plethora of side quests to do. There's weapons to upgrade and collect. There's always something to do in the game, and playing the game is it's a thrill. I streamed the first ending, and the last half hour is just over the top insane action, and it was a blast. I haven't had that much fun playing a game since Titanfall 2's campaign, which was just astounding in sheer terms of what I expected and what was delivered. And so I'm out of the slump. I'm kind of back on track here. I've got a healthy balance. I'm eating my fucking veggies and meats and grains. I've got a nice healthy food pyramid in my gaming life again, and it feels great. But unfortunately, it comes at the cost of having to buy separate consoles because of platform exclusivity. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to save that for next week, i.e. tomorrow. I'm going to record a makeup episode as far as because we missed last week entirely. And I got a lot of shit I still want to talk about. It's just a matter of making sure I don't fall into a slump, keep on going when I get home. So look out for that tomorrow. We're going to be talking platform exclusivity. We're going to be talking the weird fucked up shit of Death Stranding by Kojima and Del Toro. And until then, you can always write the show, theunwashedasses@gmail.com. Again, tell me what celebrity you think you could just pound into the sand. What ones you're kind of afraid of. Could Terry Crews take you out? He could probably take us all out. But write the show, either here at Twitter at unwashed_asses, and we'll see you next week.
But that beauty comes at such a price, and I know that you'll soon disappear, like the dark and the night.